Hi everyone, it's Nicole and I'm here with another layout, and this again is a layout that I got done at the crop, and this is all done with scraps. So this is all pattern papers that I had in page kits for the March Scrapathon and didn't get to use them, and then one day we did a Facebook Live and I did some page kits that I was going to bring at my crop. And these page kits came together really quickly because most of them, or all of them, were done with leftovers from the different pages. So these are some super old Doodlebug pattern papers. They were from 2001, so that's like 17-year-old pattern papers, but I absolutely love them. They're super flimsy, so whenever, if I'm going to use the pattern paper as a background, I make sure to mount it on a cardstock. And a lot of times I'll use a cardstock that I don't really like, because then it doesn't really show. It's just in the back, and then on the back side of it there's going to be another layout, so it doesn't really matter. I don't know if at the crop I was able to find, an extra cardstock in the stash that I brought, because I only brought very minimal stuff at the crop. Before I left the house, I actually took pictures of, what I was bringing for the crop. And then I took another picture of what I was bringing because it was a sleepover, and then I took some pictures of what I was bringing because I was filming. So there was, altogether it was a fair amount. But if you were just counting what I was bringing for cropping, I barely had anything. I had a little tiny container that is about 6 inches wide by maybe 15 to 20 inches long, but not very deep, maybe 6 inches deep. And I think it's mainly made for photos, I think. But so I had that I had sort of my extra stuff. So I had a little bit of sprays, a little bit of mixed media stuff, and some stickers. And then I had a bag, the types of bags that you get groceries with. Except it's a little bigger and it's got cameras all over it, and I use that for scrapbooking. And that's where I put in my page kits and things like my cup holder, my Scrap-A-Ma-Bob, I think it's called, so that I can put stuff, my glasses in that, so that I don't spill all over the table. And that was it for things that was scrapbooking related. So I basically brought page kits and that little container, and then my my little box for my cutter, my caterpillar crop, because you got to have a cutter to go to a crop. So what I did was I just took the pattern papers in the sizes that they were in. Now this background pattern paper, I'm going to cut it down to 11 3/4 by 11 3/4, and it worked out good because I wanted to mat my photo on that dark purple cardstock, and I cut my photos out of the center, and then I was able to mount that flimsy pattern paper onto that cardstock. And I don't get to use purple a lot. This year I've sort of reignited my love for the color purple, because I've done, between my classes and pages that I do on YouTube, I've done quite a few layouts using purples, and I'm loving it. Now these photos are actually of some flowers that I got back in March. And if you're new to my channel, or if you've been here for a while, you knew that last July I got a hernia. I don't know how it happened. It was either from, they say that you can be born with it, and then all of a sudden something happens that the abdominal wall kind of opens. I'm thinking it had to do, I had like bronchitis, and I did a whole bunch of coughing, and then all of a sudden I could feel it. Anyway, so I was supposed to have my surgery on March 23rd, and I was all gung-ho because, I was going to New York in May, and I wasn't, thinking too much. The end of March, usually we don't really have that many snowstorm, or if we do, it's not a big deal. Well, on March 22nd, we got this huge snowstorm. It was over 30 centimeters. I think it was closer to 40, but it had stopped by 2 o'clock in the morning. But here they have this new thing in New Brunswick that they don't plow till the next morning. So they were plowing at 6 o'clock in the morning. My husband was out there. He was, plowing our driveway. And at 6:02, I got a call from the doctor's office saying all surgeries were canceled for the day. And it was so discouraging because, yes, this was at 6 o'clock in the morning, but by 7 o'clock, the roads were down to the pave. It was literally sunny outside. And I was so discouraged because at that point, I didn't know when they were going to reschedule it. I was, like when you don't know, right? It just feels... And I was like, oh, what if it's another 6 months? Because at this point, I was in a ton of pain. At the beginning, the doctor had told me that I could still walk and that kind of stuff. But by, I'd say, October, I couldn't walk anymore. I couldn't go on the treadmill. I was in constant pain. So that had been like 5-6 months of being in constant pain. I could only be up for like an hour or so at a time, and then I would have to rest. And I'm a person that likes to get a lot of stuff done. So for me, that was disheartening. Nobody likes pain, but I just have a lot of ideas in my head that I want to do, and I couldn't do them. So that was kind of disheartening. I did do quite a bit of reading, I have to tell you. Today, which is May 28th, I have read 57 books up to now. So I've done quite a bit of reading. I haven't watched a lot of things on TV or anything like that. I've done quite a bit of reading. I'm about 20% away from finishing 2 other books, which I plan on finishing today, hopefully. And so that'll be like 59 books, and it's not even June yet. So yes, did quite a bit of reading, which I'm really happy about. But I still, I want to go on the treadmill and all that stuff. Now, so that day I was quite blue. So at about 1 o'clock about 12:30, I said to my husband, I said, okay, we have to do something. It was on a Friday. I said, we have to do something because I'm just sitting here feeling sorry for myself and I don't like it. So we need to go and do something. So we went and, did groceries and everything. And when we went to Costco, they had these beautiful flowers that were nice and bright and just gorgeous. So I said to my husband, I need some flowers because I feel sorry for myself. And I should have taken a picture. I did get a huge cherry cheesecake from Costco also to make myself feel a little better. And so I needed to do, a layout of that. And again, it seems lately I've been talking a lot about, not just scrapping, about the fun stuff, the vacations, the trip to the zoo, the trip to the park, and all that stuff. It's okay to scrap the not so fun times. And one of the stickers I put on this is awesome forever, just because that day wasn't that great for me. Since then, that same afternoon, his secretary, it was just amazing. She said, I'm going to, if we don't get a day by today, I'm going to make sure we have a day by Monday. And I put you on 2 cancellation list because I have to say, and I'm not a crier, okay, I have to say that I am not one, like, I don't know why we were talking about that one day, but my kids were saying, one day, we've never seen you cry, Mom. Like, I am not a crier. I'm not a crier. And that day, if my daughter came to give me a kiss before she went off to work. You know, she found out, and she came in and I was sleeping, and she said, "Mom, you looked sad even when you were sleeping." And so, you know, it's not that it's not okay to see, for your kids not to, you know, to see you cry. It's just I'm not a crier, and I don't know if it has to do with my job, that I've had to kind of make myself stronger that way. I don't know, but it's okay to show vulnerability, right? So my kids knew that I was upset that day. But all was good. She called me by 1:30 in the afternoon. She had a new date of April 27th, and now it's May 28th, and I've had my surgery a month ago, and I feel 100% better. I mean, there's still a little bit of pain going on, but nothing to what it was. And the great thing is I'm leaving for New York tomorrow morning, and I can't wait. Yay. But quickly, let's talk about what I did for this page. So like I said, this was all scraps. So I took the scraps in the sizes that they were in. I mounted the photos on some purple cardstock, mounted my background on that purple cardstock. I used some leftovers, embellishments that didn't make it on the other pages, you know, the other page kits that I put together. So I love doing that. You have leftover pattern papers, you have leftover embellishments, you make some new kits, and then, you know, you're able to make some pages, beautiful pages. I love this page. I love those big embellishments where, you know, I really couldn't put them anywhere else, but I was able to cut them in pieces and able to use them in several places on this layout. And I like the way I did sort of 2 columns, but it's not full columns because that was the size of the pattern papers. And then I was able to, one, put the title at the top, and then on the other spot I did another embellishment clusters. And that's it. That's going to complete this layout. And if you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit subscribe. And if you're enjoying these videos, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, and maybe leave me a comment down below. And I want to thank you so much for watching. Bye.